The last phase of a startup's life cycle begins when it is no longer considered a startup. The idea has found market fit, it has regular sales, and continues to add customers. It's at this point that a startup is now considered a mature company. When a company reaches this stage, it may choose or be forced into what is called a liquidity event. This is when the early investors may want to collect on their investment, to reap what they helped sow. But the liquidity event, like most elements of the startup life cycle, can manifest in many different ways and come at a variety of times.
By definition, a liquidity event really is the exchange of a significant number of shares, usually a majority of the shares of a company in a transaction.
And startups typically will not have things like distributions in the way of, or a dividend in the way that a public company might. And so instead, most investors of a startup will ride along until the startup does one of two or three things. One is sell itself. So to the extent that there's an acquisition or a merger, that may provide liquidity to the owners of a startup, that is, a way to get paid back.
I mean, the other thing that has been a path to liquidity has been going public. And so you're actually, selling your shares to the public, and it's a way for investors and to some degree for early employees to be able to cash out on the value that they've created.
On average, where a company moves to a liquidity event, usually it's time related, but it can be driven by the outside, right? It may be driven by particular interest in a technology. So some companies may be acquired early on in their life cycle where they have a specific technology that a large company needs.
And I've been a CEO many times, and I will tell you that most of the time, the liquidity event comes when some other company says, we really value what you have, and we'd like to make this kind of an offer, and it generates a really attractive return to investors. And as a company, you feel like you'll be able to make a bigger difference being part of that company versus going it alone.
But a liquidity event can also be part of a company going to a different phase of their growth. So for example, LogRhythm, we're a mature software company, no longer a startup, and it's enabled us to kind of partner with an investor and private equity firm. There's a lot of experience taking companies and expertise taking companies like LogRhythm from where we are to much bigger paths down the road.
LogRhythm is a Boulder-based cybersecurity company. Essentially, they keep data and networks safe from outside attacks and threats. They have been around since 2005 and are a respected leader and innovator in the cybersecurity field. But in 2018, they sought a partner to help them grow even further. They found this partner in Thoma Bravo, a private equity firm who specializes and are experts in the cybersecurity realm. LogRhythm saw this as an opportunity to continue to innovate, grow, and lead in their field.
What made LogRhythm attractive to Thoma Bravo? I think a few things. Thoma Bravo was one of the private equity firms that have been actually following us for a while. So they knew us, they knew the team and liked the team, they knew the market segment. They have all they do is software. So we're a software company, so that obviously is a critical criteria. But they also have a lot of investments and expertise in the security market. Their expertise in software and security is really important as we try to go from where we are today, a very mature software security company to a much larger one. They bring a lot of best practices and knowledge and expertise around taking a software company from where we are to where we're going. And that was really, really valuable, and it's proven to be the case early on, just 7-8 months into this relationship.
A move like this, in a way, can help a company return to its startup roots. A startup has the advantage of being able to pivot, innovate, and adjust quickly. Mature companies have a harder time doing this as they have more and more people and investors to answer to. Thus, a sale to a single investor can simplify the decision-making process and allow a company to be more nimble in its mature form.
You're going from several investors and board members with different levels of interest to really one primary investor. So that, in a lot of ways provides more focus and more synergy and alignment is just easier to get to. It's easier to kind of get through decisions on certain areas quicker, and we're benefiting from that. So that's one of the things that's changed on a daily basis. I think having that is already playing out to help us as we go forward to build to the next phases.
In its many forms, the liquidity event can allow an entrepreneur to return to their startup roots. A new investment can lead to the development of other new ideas. Or a buyout can allow an entrepreneur to start work on their next idea. The people at the core of these companies are innovators, and are often not content to rest on their laurels. The liquidity event isn't always the end for a startup, but rather the beginning of the next startup lifecycle.